4 today, I mean, chapter 1, sorry, chapter 1. Um, chapter 1. Before we get started, I want to see if there were any questions. Are there any questions? Was everyone able to navigate everything okay? I saw most of you did everything, all your assignments, so that was great. Easy peasy. All right, very good, very good. I do want to remind us of a few things. Number one, please make sure if you haven't, most of you guys have. I don't see anyone here that's new, maybe one person. Make sure you do that online pledge. Without the online pledge, you're not able to access any of your assignments. Number two, please make sure that you do the question at the end of the lecture. There's a participation question that is in tandem. It goes in conjunction with the live session. If you do not turn in that participation question, your attendance is not counted. I only had 1 or 2 people who unfortunately came to the live session, but they did not do the participation question by 12:30. So your participation is not counted. I don't want that to happen to anyone, guys. I hate when I see that. So please, 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 most of us got it right, but please make sure you do that participation question right after you get done with the class, right? As soon as the live session is over, I don't care if you do it during the live session, just do the participation question, all right? And lastly, you guys are doing great on your discussion boards. For those of you that have started, make sure you follow the word count because remember, people have to read it and someone may respond to your response. So it's important that you have the word count so they'll have enough to respond to. All right. All right, guys. So today we're going to talk about goal setting. Goal setting. This is something I used to teach, this concept of career versus financial planning to master student level financial planning students. And I think it's something that a lot of people don't tend to think about. When we think about our career goals or what we want to do versus our quality of life and how we want to live, not everyone thinks of it as complementary. Some of us do. Like clearly, you know that if you want to buy a ranch and have acres of land and horses and a nice big house, maybe a big family house where people can come, that if you don't have any of that stuff now and you want your job, your career rather, to you know, be able to get you that lifestyle, then you have to make sure that that career is able to get you that lifestyle. So what does that mean? That means you have to make enough money in order to live that type of lifestyle, whether it's now or in the future. If I decide that I want to retire in Hawaii, and if anybody knows how expensive Hawaii is, and I want to buy a nice big condo somewhere out there where all the stars live, um, I need to do something more than teaching, right? That ain't gonna cut it. Now, if I decide that maybe I want to retire down in North or down in South Florida, North Florida, wherever, in a small little town and, just have a nice little condo, even though who buys condos in Florida anymore? Maybe I can get away with, teaching and be able to do that. So what does that mean? I'm not saying go after the money, but what I am saying is you want to make sure what it is you're trying to do in your career is in alignment. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So for those of us that say, when we talk about career plan and I challenge us to think about our long-term goals, it's something that a lot of people haven't really thought about because they're really busy trying to take care of the now. A lot of mistakes I see happen when I ask someone what their long-term goal is. They'll say something like, "Oh, to take care of my family." And I say, "Well, what does that look like?" Right? What does take care of your family look like? That's very subjective. Again, taking care of my family to one person could be just being able to provide for them, which, I know a lot of Americans are saying that's all of us now, but just being able to provide for them, and make sure that they're healthy and have, roofs over their head and all that kind of stuff. Um, but, someone else may say, well, no, I want to make sure my child never has to suffer the way I did. I want to make sure that they're independently wealthy. And that's what I mean by taking care of my family. So, if that's what you mean, then how does your career align with those goals, right? One person may say, oh, okay, maybe I can just go get a corporate, tenure type position and I'd be great. Someone else may say, no, I want to be an entrepreneur because I want to be independently wealthy and I don't want my child to ever have to go through, even asking someone for a job because I want to, pass down my business, to my children and to their children after that. So you really have to dig deep when you think about your long-term goals and make sure what it is you're doing in your career is in alignment with what it is you're trying to achieve financially. So with that in mind, we know that your career planning is going to it's going to vary from person to person, right? We know that there's a big difference between a job and a career. Most of us have had jobs before, and oftentimes, they're not leading to some type of long-term success. And many of them are not going to help you sustain this goal of what it is you're trying to do financially. But your career, if chosen properly, should be able to do that. So you have to think about I'm just going to put you guys on mute really quick. Okay. So you have to think about what career pathway you are going to take. The book in chapter 1 gives you a lot of different, websites you can go to, look up your trade. So whether you're going into electrical or HVAC or, the health field, what is the trajectory of your industry. So, it'll tell you like, okay, if you, and I'm just going to speak for my own career, like if you're in the IT field, if you're in the consulting field, we expect to see a 15% growth over the next 10 years, and someone with your experience should make X amount of dollars. Or if you decide to own your own business, you can make X amount of dollars. Like I need to do that research because I need to make sure it's in alignment with what I want to do with my family. There's a website here called the Occupational Information Network that does a lot of that, but so does the Department of Labor. I encourage you to take some time to do some research on your industry. Where's your industry going nationwide? Is it global? Where's it going in the region? What's happening, because you want to make sure that what it is you're trying to do is attainable, right? So what if, you wanted to move to Alaska, but you're an HVAC person? Well, I'm not saying Alaska doesn't have air conditioning services, but maybe the job options may not be as abundant as it is here in Florida. Maybe it wouldn't make sense. Maybe the competition,
You just need to
would
crack open a window.
you could crack open. Exactly. Maybe that's your new gig, going around helping people crack open their windows. Maybe that's their new air conditioning job. But you see, and I know I'm being extreme here, but you want to, make sure what it is you're trying to achieve makes sense. So those of us that are wanting to start our own business, you have to be particularly careful about what it is you're trying to do, because you don't want to, well, maybe the market's already saturated and you want to make sure that if you're going to start a business that it makes sense. Listen, this is not the McDonald's versus Burger King where they have one on one side of the street, one on the other, or the Walgreens versus CVS. Like if you have an electrical company, or you're a general practitioner of, low voltage, whatever, you want to make sure that you're not bumped up against the guy across the street who already has that market. Maybe you need to, open up your business in another town, so you have to think more, strategically about your business and what it, especially if you're saying, okay, you know, I want my company to be I don't know, $5 million company, $10 million company. Maybe you're thinking, I want to start in this town, but I would like to see my company as big as Central Florida. Maybe I want the entire Central Florida to be my market. Some people may say, I want the entire Southeast region to be my market. So if you take those three scenarios, someone that wants to just be a general electrician in their town versus someone that wants to be one in, Central Florida versus someone that wants to be one in the Southeast region, that's going to be three different types of plans, right? And clearly, the person that wants to be successful throughout the region is going to have a plan that is far more aggressive than someone that's going to be in their own town. Does that make sense? So their 10-year plan may look a lot different from someone in just in that town. So you really got to think about, what is it that I want to do? I say I want to start my own business. What does that mean? I say I want to be successful and feed my family, but what does that mean? So what we want you to do is, when you create a career plan, that you think about goals that are smart. And no, I'm not being condescending. That's actually an acronym, and we're going to talk about what that means. Essentially, it's saying that your goals need to be action steps. They need to be something that you can measure so that you know that you are actually hitting your targets, right? So the book talks about, if you are the type of person that, let's say you do want to start your own business, or let's say you just want to be a master electrician, or and start your own company, or maybe you just want to maybe be a vet tech, a VA now, go to a vet tech, then maybe even go on to be a veterinarian. Maybe that's your goal, but you haven't really decided if that's your thing, right? You think this is a good job for you, but you're not sure. There are these things called self-assessments that a lot of companies do. I mean, they used to do it back in my day, but schools still have all students take self-assessment, so we're going to have you take one, so you can kind of get a sense of what you think you like. Is it really what you like? Maybe psychologically what you're good at. Maybe you think you want to own your own business, but the site the assessments are like, you really don't do well with people, so you may be like, did that something I want to do? I'll tell you right now, when I first got out of the military, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. Like, I was so sure about that. I have family nurses in my family and things like that. So I'm thinking, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I decided to go um, volunteer in a hospital. Okay, do y'all want to know how long that lasted? I'm gonna tell you right now, not even a week. I couldn't even still stand the smell of the hospital. Like, I don't know if that's just me, but I don't know. It was so gross. Now, conversely, my brother, he must have got the bug because he's been working in the hospital environment for 20 some odd years, probably 25 now. And he works in the emergency room. I don't want to talk about what he does, but yeah, I clearly can stand it. Me, not so much. I even thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just be a physical therapist or an occupational therapist. That'll be very, very safe. Yeah, I lasted like 2 weeks in that department because I don't want y'all to. I'm not going to give you a description of what I had to experience, but it was not good. So yeah, I had to cancel those plans. So it was very important for me to do that, because what if I would have went to school for that? Can you imagine? I would have been those people, they were putting that smelling salt up under their nose. I would have failed for sure. So sometimes it's good maybe to do a self-assessment and say, okay, what is it that you like? Not surprisingly for me, even in my younger years, they were like, Cynthia, you need to be a teacher. You need to be something where you're talking, you're educating people. I thought, no way, Jose, I'm not wasting my time doing nothing like that. I want something that makes a lot of money, because I am one of those people that want to vacation in Hawaii and maybe have a condo on the beach. That's me. So I knew I wanted to make big, big money. I wanted to be on Wall Street somewhere, right? Um, and we'll talk about where I am later. But I'm definitely not in either of those situations just yet. But the self assessment is a good way to give you a sense of what it is you can do. It also helps you, know what your certain skill sets are, not the ones that are obvious to you, but maybe some others that are not obvious to you. Like what wasn't obvious to me is that I'm really good at logistical things. Um, I probably could have been like a architect, which surprised me. I'm really good at big visual things. Someone got me a book called Cool Graphics one year, and I was like, "What is this?" He was like, "No, this is you. You need to read it." And sure enough, it's so me because I'm always looking at how things work, but I never thought of myself as someone that had a mechanical brain. And then years later, I fall into IT and stuff like that. So, okay, it makes sense. But anyway, knowing who you are and what your assessments are, or what your skills are very, very important. So it can help you. But while you're doing that, you still need to figure out what your goals are. What we want you to do in this class is to create two long-term goals. Like I said, let's say if you are an electrician, you decide that you want to become a master electrician within the next. Any electricians in the building? Give me a thumbs up if you're an electrician, because I want to say something realistic so you guys don't laugh at me. Any master electricians? What about, was it welders? Who's in the welding program? What do you guys can be journeymen, right? Can you be journeyman? Give me a quick thumbs up. Is that something your next step is to become a journeyman? I think so. I used to be over um um I used to be associate dean over the welding, but I can't remember what it was, but I thought it was. But anyway, um, let's say a master electrician, I'll stick with it. I think you could be a master electrician within 6 years, I think. Um, and so let's say I decide if I'm in the electrical field, I want to become a master electrician within 6 years, and then I want to start my own business within 10 years, right? So I just came up with two long term goals. My first long term goal is to become a master electrician within 6 years. My second long term goal is to start my own business within 10 years. Now, the next question is how in the bejesus am I going to get there? And that is where your short-term goals are. But what I want to focus on in a minute is how do you get to those long-term goals. But I want to make sure you guys understand what I mean by long-term goals, because you are going to be giving me long-term goals today. Does everyone understand that I want two long-term goals today? I'm going to talk more about it in a minute, but I want you to understand that because I want you to get your mind set on it. Yes, give me a quick thumbs up. Okay. All right. So, what you are going to do is do a self assessment. And like I said before, it's going to help you just to measure things about yourself. It's going to talk to you about, what your natural abilities are. It'll talk a little bit about your personality because they're going to ask you 10,000 questions. And then it's going to give you this big report that tells you about, you know, your values, your personality, your abilities, things of that nature. Some of you already know it, but you may not have thought about what is my aptitude? What do I have an aptitude for, right? Well, that has to do with your mental or physical, right? So some people have an aptitude to take a test. I don't. Like some people take tests really, really easy, but some people have an aptitude to do that, and it's easier for them to do it, or it it's a natural ability for them to do it, right? So if it'll talk to you about what you have a natural aptitude for. Like I have a natural aptitude to consume large amounts of information. If I tell y'all the things that I do, the things that I absorb, it's nuts because I don't know why I do it. I've been doing it for years. All I think I knew that they gave me a hint, is that when I was in elementary school, this is a vivid memory of mine. Don't talk about me. I remember the first time I went to the library and the teacher was like, y'all remember being in elementary school, going to the library and they give you what, like 15, 20 minutes to go find a book? Anybody remember that? To me, it was heaven. I was like, you mean to tell me, or do they still have libraries? Let me start there. Do they still have libraries? Um, I, to me, that was heaven. I get to walk around this big old place with all these words, and I get to find books that I can read and I can take home and I can read them. I thought I was in heaven. I thought for sure I was going to be a librarian. Um, in Orlando, we have the big public library, and that would be like a field trip for me. Crazy, right? And so years later, come to realize, I don't know, I have this aptitude to read. Now, here's the thing. I probably shouldn't say this, but I hate school. How is she's a teacher? Yeah, I said it and it's on recording. I hate school. You know why? Because I don't like being told what to read. I know that's weird. Like, I don't like the teacher telling me, read chapters 1, 7, and 8. I'll tell y'all why it is in a minute we do that. I want to read the whole book from start to finish. I want to read the table of contents and I want to read the credits. Like, I really want to absorb myself in it, right? It's weird, but I do. So a lot of times I'll ignore the teacher and I'll just read the whole book. But, they do that because obviously the class is only teaching you about certain things. And so maybe the whole book doesn't have, is not on that specific topic. So we only have you read certain chapters that relate to the topic that's relevant to the class, is why we do it. But anyway, I used to always defy the teacher and just read the whole book because I absorb a lot of information. I don't know, I have an aptitude for that. Now, you can also have a specific ability, to master a skill, right? Sometimes, I know, well, I don't know if this is an aptitude or a skill, but my daughter has great hand-eye coordination. She probably could be do anything physical. When I tell you this kid, you could just be like Emma and throw something at her, and she'll turn around and catch it like a NFL player. I don't know how she does that. If you throw something at me, it's going to crash. It's going to break. Don't throw anything at me because I'm not going to catch it. I wear glasses. I'm going to close my eyes and squinch over it and it's going to fall to the ground. I have she throws things at me. I'm like, yeah, throw it to mommy. And she's like, boob. And she just looks at me like, really, girl? I can throw her anything and she'll catch it. She's better at it than me for sure. Definitely not something she got from me. But also your personality, right? It's a unique blend of qualities that predicts your attitude. Your personality is a big part of who you are and what you can do. Now, even though I am an introvert, and you may not even think that, like you're an introvert with all that chit chatting you do. Yes, I am an introvert. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all are the only people I talk to. If I don't have to work, I'm not talking to anybody. Isn't that surprising? Most introverts always, anybody else an introvert, we always shock people. They're like, "How is it you come across as such a friendly, personal person?" Right? Yeah, now I wanted to pronounce your name. I saw that name. Is it in and Angelise? No, how's it? Am I
Yes,
messing that up?
Angelis.
Look at me! Look at me! Look at me! Listen, I'm easily impressed with myself, Angelise. Okay, I'm so happy I got that right. But yeah, like I'm such an introvert, but people say, "Well, you're going to talk for a living." And even they told me that years ago, and I was like, "Get out of here." I wouldn't want to talk. I wanted to be a scientist. Now, I'm a writer and I'm a researcher, which I love. I like to work independently is what I learned about myself. It's not that I didn't like working with people. It's not like I didn't like people. I just like to work independently because like I said, y'all know I like to read a book from start to finish. I like to do things in a way that I can absorb myself, immerse myself into what I'm I'm doing. I don't like to do it with people because this person has the idea, that person has the idea, and then I'm gonna fall asleep waiting for everybody to figure out what type of idea we're gonna do, and then go. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But anyway, I mean, I'll go with the flow. Like I'm a good accommodator. I accommodate anyone. But internally, I'm thinking I just want to be alone. But anyway, I know that's my personality. So there's a test out there called a Myers-Briggs personality. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. I actually took this test many years ago for a job. It's one of the many tests that talks about personality. Yours is going to be a little different that you'll take today. Also, your values have a lot to do with what type of work that you want to do. Maybe you haven't thought about it like me. I have religious principles that won't allow me to do certain things. I ain't gonna do it. Don't ask me to do it. If you need some help doing it, don't come see me. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. I even had friends that I've known for a really long time, that, suggested, hey, could you no, I can't help you. No, no, stop. Don't even ask, right? Oh, they clutched their pearls. Like you should have known better. The answer was going to be an N and an O. Don't come over here for nothing but some advice and a couple dollars if you need it. Now I'll support you in that way, but that's about it. Don't ask me to go to the club. Don't ask me to do none of that stuff. Now, that's not to say back in the day I didn't get my groove on, but those days are long gone, right? I just have a value system that is just who I am, right? It also dictates the type of work that I do. Like I'm too old to not know better, right? So you got to know who you are and what your value system is. I'll be very honest with you. I was up to work for the federal government. I had applied to work for the federal government. My contract got terminated. I actually was working for the federal government through with Deloitte. Anybody ever heard of Deloitte? And our contracts, the president, he just kicked us out. Can you imagine just kicking us out like that? Canceled our contracts. Everybody lost their job. By the grace of God, I have other skill sets, so I was okay. But yeah, so you're looking at someone that was affected, but I was up for a job and they froze all the positions, right? So now I don't know if I'm going to apply for that work now because from a principal standpoint, I got a problem with what's happening. I think that there's a way to do everything. I don't have an issue with what they're trying to do. I just have an issue with the way you're doing it. Does that make sense? Like there's a way to do a lot of different things. I got a problem with you kicking veterans out their jobs and kicking people, and I'm talking about the federal workers specifically, right? Like I think there's a way to go about everything. There's nothing wrong with class and decorum, please bring some of it back. So now I'm like, I don't know if I had to rethink. I'm rethinking my entire career, which is a big, big thing for me. But, you have to do what, is principled for you. So that will affect your career, right? When you think, right? Now, part of skills, something that you can do well, it does include both hard and soft skills. This is going to become extremely, extremely, extremely important to you guys as first in this course, because we're going to talk about this forever. And hint, hint, it is on your test. So pay attention, perk up for this part of it. When you go look for a job, when you look at any job description, they're always going to list hard and soft skills. Has anybody ever paid attention to that? Have you ever looked for a job and ever noticed that? Or maybe you didn't notice that they were ranked like that, hard skills, soft skills. Some they may have referenced it as technical skills, non-technical skills. Um, it'll always start with what I want you to do. So if you're in the VA program, it may say something like what? Do a catheter, restrain an animal. Administer medicine, but then it's going to talk about soft skills like what? The ability to have compassion. You're going to have to talk to customers about their animals. Maybe you have to euthanize an animal and you got to be able to, show some empathy for a customer that has to go through that. Do you have the ability to have customer service? Do you have the ability to show kindness? Right? That's a soft skill. We don't want anybody working in the VA department, veterinary assisting veterinary field rather, if you don't like animals, that's not going to work. Like, who are you, doctor? Dr. D, you know what the D stand for. Like, we don't need you saying, oh, we need fewer animals, so I'm gonna go work in the VA field, right? That's not gonna work. So you need certain soft skills that work with your job. And you'll notice when we actually do an exercise at looking at some job descriptions that it's gonna be more obvious to you than what you've identified in the past. So knowing what your hard skills are and what the soft skills are is important. Here's an example here. Some hard skills, and let's just start with those on the right because they're easier, right? You have technical skills in accounting, carpentry, computer programmer, data analysis is what I do. Maybe you're a good graphic designer, a nurse, a welder, whatever, right? Those are technical skills. But what are some soft skills? Do you have active listening? Is that something that's going to be important in all of your careers? I think so. I think so. Do you have good time management, teamwork? Do you take initiative? Do you have integrity? Do you have good problem solving skills? Jobs love you to have good problem solving skills. You know why? Because they want to know, are you the type of person that's going to, every time you bump into an issue, you're going to go see the supervisor? Or are you the type of person that's going to think critically and say, okay, how can I solve this? Or let me come to my boss, let me tell them what I've identified as an issue, and then let me offer up some advice on how to solve it. If you really want to make your way up through the ranks, and I'm telling you, I am one person that can speak. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this. I'm going to break some stereotypes. I've always, always, always made it up the ranks fast. Always. And I know y'all saw what I look like, and they say, oh, yeah, there's bias and all that. But let me tell you something. I've never experienced that in my career. I'm be honest with you. Every job I go to, I always get promoted fast. One of the qualities I think that people tend to like, besides my winning personality, is, I definitely have a militant personality. I'm definitely, okay, what do you want next? What do you want done next? Because I'm task oriented. I learned that about myself. I don't know if anybody else knows that about themselves. Are you the type of person that writes stuff down? Y'all know how we like to put those little squares on the left-hand side so we can check that box and write things down. And then we get so much satisfaction from putting that little check mark in that box. I had to write something down right before we got started. Anybody knows if they're a task oriented person? Who likes to make a list? Any list people in the building? Is it just me? Oh, there's a thank you. Thank you. I am a list person. Now, the problem is I have lists all over the place. Oh, look at my task oriented people in the house. I love it. But we like to get things done. Is it not personal satisfaction when you get to check a box? Is it just me? It's something about checking that box because it makes you feel a little bit less stressed, right? Like, I got this done, I got that done, I got that done. So that's my personality at work. What do I need to do? What needs to be done? And I get to check a box. I'm not thinking of it like, oh, you're just doing all your work. Oh, you're trying to be a hot shot. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to get it done so I don't have to worry about it. That's my mindset. But companies love it. They love it. And they're like, let's get Cynthia to do it. Now be careful. Be careful because it can backfire. Um, I realized it was a running joke at one company because my first name is Cynthia. And so anytime there was a problem, they're like, yeah, just go see Taylor. Oh, no, no, no. We're just talking about your first initial is C, but I didn't realize they meant it. They're like, yeah, yeah, go see Taylor. Go throw her that problem. She'll try to figure it out. So I was like, oh, they're using my talent against me. So I had to switch up on them. But, knowing that that's a talent of yours or that's some type of, aptitude that you have, is important to know, right? But it does get me, it gets me paid. I'm gonna tell you that it gets me it gets me promoted. So I'll take that skill set because it has worked in my favor. Um, Throughout my career. Now, technology skills, they are important in today's workplace. I know many of you may think that you're not going to have a lot of technology skills in the work that you do, but some of you probably already know all of your industries, welding, VA, electrical, HVAC, all of you are going to have technology. Who's using technology now? Give me a thumbs up if your industry is using technology. And I already know it should be all of y'all. It ain't gonna get any easier, honey. Yeah, all of you, I already know, and it's gonna continue. So yes, and I know that that again may be annoying for some people to hear because people are having this adverse reaction to technology. Now, obviously, I love technology because I'm an efficiency type person. So I'm like, anything that's going to make my life easier, give it to me, show me how to do it. Okay, I'll get the robot to clean it up, but somebody still has to fix the robot. Somebody still has to program the robot. I'll just program the robot. What's wrong with that? That's how I see it. But anyway, you know, you get more money that way. But technology is going to be a big part, being proficient. Obviously, companies are going to, one of the things, like I told you guys before, one of the reasons why we have this class is that companies expect you to know how to use a computer. They expect you to know how to use Microsoft Office and Google Docs. They even expect you to know how to do social media. Like, you don't know where you're going. And I know a lot of you may say, no, not my company. Yeah, you say that now. You just do not know. Maybe they want you to do reports. Maybe you're going to have to send emails out to customers. Like, you don't know exactly what type of company you're going to work for unless you're going to steer away from that. So it is important that you know these basic skill sets, right? That's why we're going to practice some of them in this class to make sure that you guys are up on top of it. So let's get to the meat of this um, idea of goal setting. You have to make goals that are smart. What does that mean? That means their goals need to be specific. What does that mean? It states what you'll do. You have to use action verbs. Those are verbs, right? Also, measurable. What does that mean? It needs to provide a way for you to evaluate what it is that you're trying to do. You also want it to be attainable. That is why I was asking, can I be a master electrician in 6 years? Is that attainable? Right? Let's actually start at the with the S. So, and you guys tell me, give me a little thumbs up if y'all think I did okay. I want to be a master electrician within 6 years. Is that specific? I did okay with that. Okay, okay, thank you very much. Y'all know I do good with applause. Okay. Is it measurable? I said I want to be a master electrician within 6 years. Is that something I can measure? What you think? Yes? I don't see any thumbs in the air waving like you just don't care. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, is it attainable? So that's why I wanted to know if there were any electricians in the house. Is it attainable? Is that something I can do? Okay. All right. Is it realistic, right? Is it practical? Yeah, I didn't say I'm trying to be a master electrician next year. Like, geez, like I know I need time, right? So 6 years or something is realistic. Okay, got it. And is it timely, right? I did put a date on it, didn't it? I said within 6 years. So, okay, I just created my first SMART goal. It is something that I can measure, right? I did not say, ooh, I want to make a lot of money in electrical field. What is that? First of all, what's a lot of money, right? Because what's a lot of money to you is not what's a lot of money to somebody else, right? If y'all knew how
Amen.
greedy I was, you would be like, girl, do you really need all that money? The answer is yes. The answer is absolutely yes. Don't judge me. But so what's a lot of money? It depends on who you are. But it's very, smart. Now, I also said that I wanted to do my own business within 10 years, right? And look what I did. I put some time in between becoming an electrician and starting my own business because I wanted to give myself some time to get there. But that those two long-term goals, would we agree that they're smart? Because what did I do? I put a time on it. It was very specific. I said I want to start my own business. It's attainable. I think we can agree that I can start my own business within a decade, right? Again, I didn't say a year after I become an electrician, I want to start my own business. Not that you can't, but I don't know how realistic that is. Do we have any questions on how to set a smart long-term goal? Anybody want me to practice on them? You want me to give me your goal and I make it smart for you? This sounds so awful the way it's phrased, right? Anybody have a goal want us to practice with? Or you think you got it? Nah? Um, all right, go ahead. Nope. Nope. Everybody's good. Like, yeah, keep going. Okay, very good. I can read a room. All right. So we're going to set our long-term goals today, and then in a couple weeks, you guys are going to set your short-term goals, right? All right. So wrapping this up, the objective is once you get that goal, now you need to create a path to get there. You know where you are today, you know where you want to be. How are you going to get there? So, career pathing, and that's what part of short term goals is about. But we're going to learn about career pathing before we set our short term goals, which is basically the strategy to get there, is about deciding how you're going to get there. The book talks about career ladders and career lattices. A career ladder is something that you may have heard in the past. It's like you're just going to work your way to the top. So let's say, for example, someone that doesn't want to start their own business, but maybe I want to start out as a VA now and become a veterinarian and work for a really big pet hospital, right? So my career path may look more a little bit like a ladder. I may have to stop a little bit, or maybe, yeah, yeah. I don't know if that would be a better example for career lattice, because with career ladder, you're just working your way up to the top. Whereas, and I'll come back to this in a second, a career lattice is like you move in and out, you weave in and out. So if I use the example of a VA person, let's say maybe I started out as a VA, but then in order to be a VT, I have to go back to school. So I'm not going up the ladder. I'm actually making a horizontal move because I go to VT. But VT, you may make a little bit, so maybe you'll go up a little bit, but it's not like straight shot. But maybe it could be a straight shot. I don't know. You VA people could tell me. But you got to go back to school. I know, become a VT, then go back to school, become a veterinarian, and then maybe you can just work your way up to the top like that. But at either way, it's all about strategizing how you're going to work your way up, whether it's a ladder, a straight shot, or a lattice. The ladder is more common for people like, let's say I became an accountant right out of college, and then I just stayed there. After 3 years, I'm a seasoned accountant. Then maybe I become a specialist, I become a tax accountant. Then maybe I, become a supervisor over that field, and maybe one day, become an executive over an accounting firm, right? So that's pretty standard. But because you guys are starting out in a certain field that requires you, if you want to go up, you may have to go back to school. I think of your fields more as a lattice. Does that make sense, guys? I don't want to confuse you on that, but you can read more about that. It doesn't really matter, but it just gives you a visual picture of what your career progression will look like. We're also going to talk a little bit about your career portfolio, and this is when we introduce LinkedIn, because as you build your career, you will need a portfolio. It's not like when we used to have portfolios, we used to physically have portfolios back in the day, and you would have to walk around with a portfolio binder with your resume and things that you've done and praises that you've gotten from other employees. And you would present that. Can y'all believe that? That's how we used to do it back in the day. Nowadays, you guys have LinkedIn, and LinkedIn does all of that for you, right? So we'll talk about that a little later, about developing your portfolio on LinkedIn, and how you can put all your skills and knowledge and personality and all that stuff on your LinkedIn account so people can learn more about you. All right, my friends. I know I kind of breezed through that, but any questions on any of that before we go into our question for the day? No, 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 no. All right, all right. All right. Participation question. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to list and I know you're just guessing at this point, some of you may know, your top 3 technical skills, top 3 hard skills unique to your career. Now, maybe you've just acquired them, and that's okay. Tell me what you think the top 3 skills are that you need in your industry, right? If it's a VA, technical, welding, HVAC, whatever. What are the 3 technical skills you think you need? And then tell me what the 3 soft skills um, that you have or you think you need in your career. Any questions on that? Well, all right. Y'all have been a good crowd. Now, remember, I told you guys, I think I told you guys, I'm going to try to post this video. If not, I may have to post a video that I did last month because I was having some issues posting yesterday's video and I ended up having to post a pre-recorded video. But either way, it's the same information, same question. Most of you guys are here, so you don't need the video. It's really for people that aren't here. But I just wanted to make that statement. So if you see a pre-recorded video and it's not your class, it's okay. It's the same information. But other than that, thank you so much for joining me today. We got 21 strong. That's great to see. Please make sure you go do this right now. I need 21 responses. All of you guys should be doing this right now. No excuse. Do it right now. Get it over with. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Please make sure you read the assignment for today, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go ahead, Alana. You have a